You want to know how to get your shit together? Well, all you need is 5 basic apps, so stay tuned. Welcome to the Toaster Botnet, where I babble about random things until you either get bored or hit the subscribe button.
Get your shit together! Get it all together and put it in a backpack, all your shit, so it's together. And if you gotta take it somewhere, you know? Take it to the shit store and sell it, or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do, you just gotta get it together.
Today's topic, productivity apps. There are a lot of productivity tools out there, from simple pen and paper to over customizable Notion. But what are the basics? What apps do you need to just get your shit together? Let's discuss this in this video. Well, first let's see what 5 apps I'm talking about, and then we'll go through them and I'll explain how and why they are important. So here are the 5 things you need. A notes app, a to-do list, a calendar, a file storage, and a budget app. Let's go through it. Well, the first important thing, as David Allen might call it, in getting things done is capturing stuff. So if it's something that needs to get done, it goes into the task or to-do list. If it's somewhere I need to be, or a specific time or a date, it goes into the calendar. If it's something I need to remember or recall later, or it's some sort of documentation, it goes into the notes app. If it's a document like contracts, invoices, physical mail, miscellaneous PDFs, you name it, it goes into the file storage. And of course, the last thing, if I have a financial transaction or something that comes up in the future, like an invoice that needs to be paid or something like that, it goes into my budget planner app. First off, the Notes app. I like it simple, plain and simple. I use Synology Notes. A similar solution to that might be Evernote, or there's Apple Notes, or Notion if you want to go really pro, but that's beyond the basics. The ToDo App. A ToDo App is mandatory, at least for me. You need to know what there is to do and how to do it and when to do it without relying on your flawed memory. I use Todoist. Before that, I used a much simpler app, which basically just gave me a long list of tasks that worked for a while, but in the end it got way too cluttered and complicated because I needed a more powerful tool. So I changed to Todoist. At the time, that really was a game changer. I immediately got more things done and was more efficient. And yeah, so Todoist is a pretty good option if you're searching for a to-do list app. And it allows you to tailor it to your needs exactly like you want it. And if you're just starting out, there's the free version, which is basically sufficient for most people. The calendar. A calendar is not only helpful for remembering dates and appointments, it's also a really good tool to plan ahead. I wasn't using a calendar at all in my 20s, and life was basically just chaos back then. Today I can't imagine not using one. Without it I would be lost. Just pick a calendar app, they basically all do the same. All it needs to do is to synchronize across devices. The file storage. For your digital documents, you need a file storage which should sync across devices, or at least a central storage for all your documents. Preferably can be accessed remotely. Again, I'm using a NAS here, but if you don't have one, you can just use a cloud provider like Dropbox or Google Drive, or what's it called, Apple Cloud, yada yada yada. It's a good idea to come up with a file system which allows you to quickly and easily find stuff really fast. Every time I need to look up something in my documents, it only takes me about a couple of seconds. If you have everything organized, it saves you a ton of time in the future. And the budget planner. It may sound a bit weird that I label a budget planner as a productivity app, but it kind of fits in nicely here because it really allows me to get my shit together in the financial sense. So it kind of makes sense to include this in this video, because tracking your finances is important. There's this famous quote which says that what cannot be measured cannot be improved. And if you want to improve your financial situation, which would be really weird if you don't want to do that, because yeah, who doesn't? You need to track your spending first. And after you track your spending, you need to budget for the future. Most of the time an Excel sheet would do just fine, but there are also lots of apps which allow you to synchronize your data across devices and to use it on a mobile phone on the go, which is really nice. But more on that on a future video when we talk about budget planning. These are, in my opinion, basically the pillars of an organized and successful life. If you want to get your shit together, you basically have everything covered with these 5 apps. Every time I get some input in my life, it goes in one of these 5 apps. I don't rely on my brain at all, because I forget things faster than I forgot what I wanted to say. Point is, remembering things is hard, and if you outsource your brain, memory and stuff to technology, it makes life easier and frees up a lot of mental energy. I want to be at peace and don't want to think about if I have forgotten something all the time. Well, I hope you got some value out of this video, and I hope I see you next time on the Toaster Botnet.